So let me just hold up your hands again. I want to count you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 20 looks like about. So that should work well. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to divide you up. You're each going to get your own account. Do not work with your neighbor on the same account. I said this, last time I gave this tutorial, I said that like 6 times, and everybody did that. So don't, you should only use your own account. So let's start at this side of it. We're going to officially count off, and whatever number you say, that's your login ID. All the passwords are the same, so there's no security there, except people outside the room who don't know the password. Okay, 1. Who's 2? Raise your hand. 2. 3. 4. 4. 5. Okay, skip to 6. I want you to skip 5. 6, 7, 8 in the back. 10, 11, 12. 15. Good. 14. Somebody take 15. 15. Say 16. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. 21. Anybody else? 22. 22. 23. 24. Okay, everybody's got their logins? Okay. So, go here, log in like this. And raise your hand when you're done. Wow. Who's not done? I'll give you a minute more or so. Let me know if you're having some kind of trouble. Believe it or not, last time I did this step took 20 minutes. So. Anyone still having trouble? You know what? This microphone is. Can I, what's your number? You got it? Okay. All right. I'm not sure that this is doing it. Oh, yeah, it's doing something. Okay, so. That's fine. Isn't that exciting? Did we just go down? Has everybody else still got a website? Is anybody else seeing what I'm seeing? Okay. Huh. Yeah, no, you do. You do.
Should you file Wi-Fi?
You don't have any.
Yeah.
Why would my internet go away? Actually needed for that. I don't understand that. You tell us, oh, what? Okay. They decided to forget my internet connection information right now. So you get to watch me configure my network. Just what you always wanted to do. So I use password wall. Don't know any of my actual passwords. Okay, so what you're going to see in here is you're going to see a cactus tutorial.ipynd. You're going to click on that. Now, I thought before I begin, is there anybody here who's not used a Jupyter Notebook before? A couple of people. So Jupyter Notebooks are kind of this neat thing, you know, there's this war, this philosophical war, right, between people who like GUIs and people who like command line. And a Jupyter Notebook is kind of in the middle. What you've got is, you've got a bunch of cells, and these cells can be code, or they can be markdown, or they can be graphics, or they can be anything. And the idea is, in principle, you have some kind of write-up of a scientific concept or exercise that's executable, that you can repeat and modify at will. You can get yourself into trouble if you skip cells when you evaluate, or you evaluate out of order and you forget what you did. But apart from that, they're really cool. In addition, should you decide that you need it, you can go over here, and where it says New, you can go and you can select Terminal, and then you've got a bash shell. So in case there's something that's troubling you on the command line, inside the notebook, you can try it on the command line if that makes you feel more comfortable, or if it's the more natural thing to do, but you have that option. In my experience, the terminal emulator tends not to work so well in Safari. If you're in Chrome or something else, it's okay. But Safari, I've seen trouble with that. But not for everybody's Mac, just some special people who always have things that don't work. Okay, so we've got a lot of text here in these cells to explain configuration of the Einstein Toolkit. I'm not going to just read that. We've got the email you can use for your support questions. We've got prerequisites. So, like anything else, with the Einstein Toolkit, you need to have a certain number of packages installed before the Einstein Toolkit can compile and do anything. You've got to have a good C++ compiler, a Fortran compiler. You've got to have MPI. You've got to have some other libraries. And here we document all those things for you. So on Debian, we have an apt-get install one which you can use. And for other operating systems, we have similar things. So here's some setup for the notebook itself. This is the actual first cell of code. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to click somewhere inside that cell, and then hit Shift-Enter. And when you hit Shift-Enter, that runs this code. And this is Python code. All these cells are Python. But they're sort of special Python, because if you've got a percent thing in here, that is what's called a magic. It's a special sequence of things that invokes special Python functionality that can do certain things. So this one creates a cell magic called bash. And what that's going to do is, if you're going to put bash, percent bash at the top of a cell, then everything else in that cell is no longer Python, but bash code. And so you can make use of that. We then set some environment variables that can be useful for OpenMPI. Okay? So that's what that does. You know what?
I only really hear myself by this mic.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to download the Einstein's Toolkit. So we change to our home directory, all right? And then we invoke this next cell. And what that's going to do is it's going to grab for us a program called get components. Now, at the time Cactus was written, there was a wide variety of source code control systems in use. There was RCS, there was SVN, and Git was still sort of a minority. And so, you know, different people were using different types of repositories to store their codes. And there were more than that. The way the Einstein Toolkit was designed, or Cactus was designed, it was thought that we didn't want to have all the development going on in a single institution. We wanted to be able to piece together codes from different repositories being updated and maintained from different parts of the world. So this script called get components was created. That was designed to pull these things out of different locations. And that's what you're downloading here. This next line is going to read, it's going to read in all the thorns and update them, or update them if they're already built. Now, I've already built the Einstein Toolkit and everything, so for me it just happens instantly. For you, however, you'll see a bunch of things downloading. This is Cactus downloading all the source code it needs for the all Einstein Toolkit. I have a bit of a cough. I'm sorry about that. Okay. And then after you download that, then you'll be able to CD into the Cactus directory. Let me know, raise your hand when you get to that stage. How many people are still progressing?
I didn't see anything actually downloaded, like, I should have downloaded that one.
Let me see. Yours is locked. Okay, is anybody else having trouble? All right, I'm check that out first.
You need credit?
What's that?
You need credit, like going around?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay, you just exit.
Okay, yeah, all right, everything's fine. And then exit to the next one. Who's next? Ah. We're skull. Just picture a skull with a big eye. Who's having trouble? Nobody. I hope you're being honest with me. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to configure SimFactory. SimFactory you heard about earlier today. SimFactory is a Python library, and it's going to manage, it was designed to manage building and running Cactus. So it needs some configuration information to get started, and configure that out on its own. You can execute this cell and do setup silent. Ideally, it wants your username and your email, but you know, there's only so much detail that matters at this stage. Okay, so after you execute that, then we're going to actually build Cactus, okay? Now, the SimFactory build command, so the SimFactory build command looks like this. Now we have an optional thing called mdb key, make, and then make minus J4. That just tells SimFactory how to invoke make. This isn't really working. This tells SimFactory how to invoke make. And then we have to tell it the thorn list. And let's take a look at, let's pause for a minute to take a look at the thorn list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say insert cell above, and then I'm going to say percent load Einstein toolkit.th. Okay, I'm going to type that exact thing, and then I'm going to hit Shift Enter, and I get a mess. Why am I getting a mess? Did I spell it? Because I forgot, I didn't use the correct directory. I should have put .. Okay. So if I put the .. there, it works, and then what it does is it loads the entire contents of that file into a cell for me, and I can look at it. Okay, and this is what the thorn list looks like. It's written in kind of a special little language where it defines where to install Cactus, what release to use, and then it's got these various directives where you check out from this repository, you check out these modules, okay? That's the kind of way it's organized. You don't need to understand that in detail, but this is just sort of a list of all the different components to the Einstein toolkit. It's not working for you. Is there somebody else in here who's using JukeTest 01?
I don't want to guess.
Oh, you're not supposed to be using JukeTest 01. What number did you count off?
I put in 03 when I signed it.
Okay, it's saying 01 at the top here, right?
Yeah, it is.
Log out and log into 03. This is the problem. You're fighting with him.
Gotcha.
You know, I think I have it in my mind that I'm going to develop something to detect when this happens and like throw in an error message that says multiple people using this account. All right, so anyway, this is what a thorn list looks like. And it's, you know, Get Components reads this and then it figures out where to go on the internet to grab all the different pieces to build your installation. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. It's long. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually build Cactus, and I'm going to get that started. And mine should finish quickly because I think mine's already built. We're going to test how rugged this machine is, because I have this minus J4 here for all of you. And, well, we'll just see what happens. Hopefully it won't break the world. I think I did a test like this once before without, yeah, so mine's essentially already done. Okay, yeah, mine is done. yes, you will be getting some compiler warnings. So long as you don't actually get errors, we should be okay. I mean, compiler warnings are almost a given for a code base this size. I mean, try to keep them away, but yes.
I'm getting errors.
You're getting errors. Let me see.
It looks like you have an incorrect, it looks like you didn't get your installation right. Whoops, okay.
This is fine. So I did the whole twice.
That should be fine.
And the second time it was, sorry, the first time it was wrong.
That should be fine. Okay, you didn't, for whatever reason, you didn't have this command execute.
Okay. So now do I need to do policies?
I think you can just go to the build.
Okay.
Okay, who else is having trouble? You can help. If anybody's build finishes, raise your hand and let me know. You got your build finished?
More like started or but yeah.
Excellent. Anybody else? You're done? Your build finished?
Yeah.
Great. I'm supposed to be talking for how long? Need to look at the program.
1 hour.
1 hour?
Yeah. You need to stop.
Let me just grab it. I think the program's in over there. No, I trust you. I just wanna see where, so just wanna look into the future. Okay, so I labeled those 2 half-hour segments. Okay. Yes, got it done?
No, still errors.
Still errors.
Yeah, how long should the first command run for? So it's
Oh, a couple minutes?
sorry, what?
Like a couple minutes?
Okay, so it ran for a minute, the first one, and then, but still, it's getting there.
Okay, let me take a look.
So,
It's the same error.
right, okay, let's, let me just do this. It's the problem with having to do that. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is, that.
Okay.
So let's see if that works.
Okay, so while for those of you whose compile is finished, right? For those of you who have finished compiling and are waiting to see what exciting thing comes next, I'm going to ask you to open your terminal. So let me just do that again for you. You go back to this login screen. You go over here to where you see this new, and you go down here to terminal, right? And then you can click on that. Okay? You click on terminal, and now you've got, excuse me, you've got a standard shell, and you can CD into cactus, right? And then you can type ls. Now, what you should see here, now here's the key thing. Everything in this directory was here before you started your build, except for 2 things, right? These 2. Configs and exe. So configs is going to take if I look inside configs, I'm going to see a single directory called sim. So by default, SimFactory builds a configuration called sim. In principle, you can compile your Cactus, you can compile all the Cactus code with different build options. Say you want to have profiling or some other such thing enabled, and you can put that under a different config. All right? In principle, you can do that, and all you have to do is change a couple of different things, which we're not going to get into in detail. But this sim directory is going to contain all the intermediate files, all the .o files, the .a files, and the like that were generated during your build. In the exe directory, you're going to have cactus_sim, which is the Cactus executable. Okay? And so this is the structure of the thing. Under arrangements, you have all your source code. So under arrangements, you have all the arrangement names, and that's all of them. So arrangements are collections of modules, software modules, or thorns as we call them. And if I look under Cactus numerical, I see all the different software modules that are part of the Cactus numerical arrangement. Okay, so that's the structure of the Cactus code. Does anybody have any questions about that? All right, who here is still building? Most of you. Okay. The other part, another part here is the Cactus flush itself. The basic core of Cactus is off a directory called source. I mean, not that you want to browse that right now, but I just think it's a good idea for you to have a sort of a map in your mind of what the structure of Cactus looks like. Now, for those of you who finished, I can do things like I can say Cactus exe Cactus. I can do help. I can get a help message, right? We've got a number of different things that I can look at. One of the things I can do is I can describe all parameters. So I can call it with minus OB. And what this will do is this will show you all the different options. You're going to learn more about parameter files in a little bit, but this is going to show you all the different options you can pass to Cactus. So you have parameters with this name, and this is its description, its type, and so on. It gives you a list of all those things. You can also ask it for the list of thorns that you have currently built. And there they are in alphabetical order. All right, how are we doing on build? Who is still building? I think there are fewer names. Somebody should have a convenient AI app to count the number of race names. Wouldn't that be nice? Somebody must have that. What? I know a guy who does this kind of thing. I'm asking for one. That should be a perfect, simple AI app. All right, as your build's finished, please raise your hand. Below the average on the machine is 90. In principle, this machine has 80 hyperthreads, so. But it seems responsive. All right, so one of the next things that we're going to do is we're going to run the code. And here we've got this, what's called a parameter file. So I'm going to ask you to load that. Well, you can't load it. What you can do is you can't load it because your terminal is busy compiling. What you can do is you can cat it over here, or VI it or something. Not the right directory. Okay, so the contents of this file is a single line. It says active forms equal hello world, okay? So what that's telling you is out of the 118 modules that Cactus has available to you, it will load exactly one of them. And it will provide it with no options. It will just take whatever, you know, the defaults are. And if you, well, when you build, we'll be able to run it and see what it does. Let's see. Who's finished? Who's not finished? Who is finished? Okay, there was more than one person. Oh, two? There were more people before, I'm sure. There was somebody over there. You're finished, right? You, okay, but not quite finished, okay. But you're, all right. So you started to build again and did something?
So I started, alright, so I ran this the first time and it went all the way. And then I went over here and,
No EXE directory. Somebody else is using your number. All right, somebody else in the room is using notebook 19, is using number 19. Who is it? Okay. You can't do that. All right. All right, so you take, what was it? You take number juke test 30, okay? I guess you do. No, but I mean, let me ask you a question, a related, possibly related question. How many people in the room don't have GitHub plugins? Don't have. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I could just, next time I could base it on GitHub logins, and people who don't have one can go get one. It's not working for you.
Yeah, no. Is anyone else using 22? No. Okay.
It doesn't,
It's the same error. I can show the whole thing.
this is from when I restarted it, or you did it again
No,
now?
I turn off the same. It didn't do much, yes. Turn off and I delete the get components. The components that are left. There was some kinds of
Yes.
yeah, I removed these two